Back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist. That's a CBT therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. This is for educational purpose only. May the 4 victims rest in peace, condolence to their families, and may the correct justice be served. I'd like to thank my subscribers, my viewers, for your kind comments, mindfulness, respect. It's with the help of my subscribers, viewers, who leave behind comments that actually helps me to research more about this case, right from the beginning. From the beginning, my theories that I announced in my channel, right from the beginning, was that there were 2 incidents. 2 separate incidents. Xana and Ethan, may they rest in peace, were unalived first. Between 2 to 2:10, Ethan's friend said that he got a text message from Ethan at 2 a.m. Ethan was still at the Sigma Chi fraternity, at the party. 3 a.m., a call was made from the Sigma Chi. It was alcohol related, but it's not the same one that was in Banfield. The Banfield call must have come in much earlier, or maybe the undercover cops just ran into those 3 guys inside, because that started at 2:54. It's strange that they don't talk much about the 3 a.m. call that came from Sigma Chi. And that will line up with the 4chan theory. Although it was an anonymous person who wrote 4chan, I've never doubted the 4chan article. They said that Maddie, Ethan, and Xana were their main targets. A fight happened at the Sigma Chi fraternity that night, allegedly, with David Lodge and David Baracha. We heard about it right from the beginning. Their targets was Maddie, Ethan, and Xana. They said that Kaylee wasn't supposed to be there. I'm not going to use the foul language they used, but they said Kaylee was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. I believe Maddie and Kaylee were not unalived at 2:53. Because if you pay attention, 2:52 was the last call they made to Jack D. 2:55, you hear a female yelling, "Stop it, stop." It could have been Maddie or Kaylee. Because Ethan and Xana were already unalived, in my opinion. Because you see what's going on at the grub truck when they're yelling, "Xana, Xana, no Xana. Let's go, Ethan." The first time that I showed it was over 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. So when you put all these things together, and when you see and hear the 911 call and the transcripts, it makes sense that it was 2 separate incidents. When Bethany Funk and DM were texting each other and saying they thought they saw Xana in all black, I believe that was when something happened to Xana and Ethan. I don't know why the surviving roommates are pretending that they didn't hear anything in that house. The previous tenant who lived there said you would hear every tiny sound. If somebody walks on the steps, you can hear it right down to the first floor. Were the surviving roommates told to keep quiet? Were they threatened? Lord knows. Or were they part of it? Because clearly there was other activities going on inside the house. Why was DM calling the private share driver that drove Kaylee and Maddie home. She asked him, "Are you driving?" Where did she want to go? Did she actually leave the house? Today I'd like to talk about Kaylee. May she rest in peace. Kaylee was away for a month. She was studying from home. She graduated, I believe, or she was on her way to graduate. Xana called her parents, she called her father to come and help her fix her locks. What was actually going on in the house? Were these girls threatened, or did they feel like people were out for them, is my question. It was said that Kaylee had a stalker. The police debunked that, but I still believe that she had a stalker. Was this a crime of passion, revenge, rugs, money, jealousy, all the above? I personally believe it had a lot to do with everything I mentioned. Revenge from the Sigma boys towards Ethan and Xana. Crime of passion when it came to Kaylee. Because Kaylee had a stalker, allegedly. The guy in the vape shop, you know how they say your local shops know you the best? The local vape shop said he's seen Kaylee and Maddie maybe 6 to 7 times. He said that Maddie told him that we are always in a group because they're protective over Kaylee. She has a stalker. Was this a crime of passion? Who was stalking Kaylee? Why was Kaylee not following Jack D on Instagram? He was following her. For me, it looks like Kaylee moved on. She wanted to travel to Europe, and she wanted to move to Austin, Texas, and start working there. Kaylee's LinkedIn account was logged off at 11:53 on the 13th of November. That's PM. Going to the 14th. That's 13 hours after the police were called. Why? Did you all know that you can actually make big transactions, money transactions, in a LinkedIn account? We heard that from Alivida that her sister's LinkedIn account was logged off while she was driving. I find that to be interesting. Was somebody stalking Kaylee? I believe these crimes happened on the 13th because somebody wanted Kaylee to be there. May she rest in peace. So was this crime of passion? Stalking? The mayor himself said in the beginning, this is a crime of passion. Why would he say that? Chief Fry said the surviving roommates are not witnesses. That's what he said to the ABC reporter. He said, I just said they were there. I don't think the chief considered DM and BF as witnesses. Now, they talk about 2 unidentified male DNAs. No. It was always 3 unidentified male DNAs. A glove found outside, and you can clearly see the guy in Banfield is wearing the other glove that is missing. Now they're saying there was red liquid on the railing. 3 unidentified mixed male DNAs under Maddie's nails. Wonder what DNAs they found under Xana, Kaylee, and Ethan. Because I believe Xana and Kaylee and Ethan defended themselves. I'm in doubt that Maddie could have defended herself, the poor girl. because number 9 and all the people in the grub truck were up to no good. If you put something in her mouth, he even gave that action he was going to put Maddie to sleep right before he put something in her mouth. That is my opinion. Everyone's entitled to theirs.
Questions and very few answers after 4 students at the University of Idaho were found murdered in their off-campus house. Authorities are calling it a crime of passion. Here's Stephen Fabian.
It's the chilling last photo of 4 University of Idaho students taken just hours before they were found murdered. They were identified as freshman Ethan Chappett, his girlfriend Zana Kernodle, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Madison Mogan. It's being called a crime of passion. The killer or killers used an edged weapon such as a knife, police just revealed. I spoke with Kaylee Gonzalez's sister, Olivia, who described the last night of the students' lives.
My sisters did everything right. They went out in the buddy system. They went out together. They Ubered out. They stopped and got food. They Ubered home. They let their dog out to go potty. And then they locked their house up. They did everything right. And this still happened.
I would love to know how Olivia, Kaylee's sister, knew about this information. We thank her. I per se thank her for finding the grub truck video, which have exposed quite a lot. The grub truck and Banfield is extremely important in this case. That's why for over 2 years, I've never given up on those 2 clips. It has a lot of evidence. I'm quite observant as a licensed mental health counselor. To be observant is one of our skills. Active listening is another. Watching people's behavior, analyzing people's behavior is important. I'm not saying that these 4 victims and the people involved in this case are my clients. They're not under a therapy session, so I wouldn't know who they are. But since it's gone 2.5 years, I believe we are starting to understand more about what was going on in Idaho, Moscow College. I believe there was a lot of bullying going on, a lot of nastiness. Hate to say that. These students were backdoored. People let them down. They didn't see it coming. This was a party haven. You can imagine students in this age, college students, who are just partying, making friends, living with roommates. Nobody knows who is who and who's capable of what. Who was stalking Kaylee? And what was the Gonzalez family waiting for in the post? The FBI was waiting for something. They asked them to sign a waiver form. Quite strange. Could somebody have been so nasty, hate to use that word, to maybe have sent something of that belongs to Kaylee in the post? What could they have sent? Was it the stalker? Was it the person who was in love with Kaylee? Was it a crime of passion matter? What were they sending in the post that the FBI would need the Gonzalez to sign a waiver? I believe it has to be somebody who knew Kaylee, the other 3 victims, the surviving roommates, and especially Murphy well. It was somebody who loved Murphy who didn't want Murphy to get one DNA on him or any injuries. We did hear a dog barking in Linda Lane. Was that Murphy? Very possible. DM called Kaylee to be a +1. There was a sorority party on the 11th or the 12th of November. Was DM trying to set up Kaylee? Possibly, allegedly. Why was Kaylee at home? Did she notice something going on in the house? Was there too much activities? Is that why Xana called her father? To help her to fix her locks? If Kaylee left to go to Austin, Texas, she would have taken Murphy with her. She's been with Jack D for a very long time. On and off. But she wasn't following him on Instagram. He was following her. Could he have been the stalker? We've heard of many crimes where the spouse or the ex is looked into. Jack D was the last person to be ruled out. It was said allegedly that Maddie was mutilated. Trigger warning. Why was the person so harsh on Maddie? Was Maddie the main target? Could this have been about bullying? We know the Hannah Clear case, and I showed you all what happened on Halloween, 13 days before the quadruples. It looked like DM was being bullied. They were calling her Jaden Smith. Hope you get my drift. Will Smith, the actor, is son, who likes to wear dresses. This is not something I made up. This is something Maddie put on her TikTok, and she got over 4,600 views and a lot of likes. Imagine how that would have made DM feel. Wasn't there a black glove found on the scene? Look at the mister in the middle. He's wearing a black glove. I've showed you all over 100 times. Where is his other black glove? I always believe that these three came from the crime scene. Saeed is watching the crime scene pictures. And I believe these three have to do with Ethan and Xana, because they were unalive first. And these three are freshmen, just like Ethan, Xana, DM, and BF. He has a black glove on. That's important. Picture how many DNAs will be found inside and outside this property. This is 1122 Kings Road. Everyone knew this house well. Anyone could have gone and done these crimes. Why are they after BK only? BK could have done it, but not by himself. And BK has no relationship with any of the people who live in the house, unless he knows BF well, because her Venmos show us that she was up to no good. Imagine how many people are inside the house. We can just see the outside. This was a party venue. Anything could have been going on here. Remember that. Did the suspects come in from this window, or did they touch the window? BK's too big to have come in from this window.
Interesting. This is one of the surviving roommates, Dylan, and her boyfriend. This picture was deleted off her VS CEO. Here's a closer look. Also seems to be red stains and bruises.